Ah yes, football shirts. They're the perfect blend of athletic performance, club pride. What? What's up, girl? We got a cat. This is Luna. Can I make my video on football shirts, please? Yeah? You're so kind. Thank you. You want to chill there? You can chill there. That's okay. Yeah, you chill there. Where was I? Ah, yes. Football shirts. They're the perfect blend of athletic performance, club pride, and occasionally international scandal. Today, we're going to take a look at some of the banned or controversial football shirts from across the world that have been released throughout the years. Now, normally you wouldn't expect a football shirt to be banned. You know, they're normally pretty inoffensive.
My eyes are bleached.
And in recent times, works of art. And they allow fans to rep their clubs with pride whilst looking good doing so. So today I'm going to be going through all of the banned football shirts or controversial football shirts from over the years. We're going to start with the least controversial, in my opinion, and work our way up to the most controversial of football shirts. And I'll rate them along the way as well. This could go very wrong. Let's take a look, shall we? And we're going to start off with what is probably the tamest of the shirts on the list, the Manchester United 95-96 away shirt. Like I said, probably the tamest one of the shirts you're going to see here, so it's bottom of the list for a reason. And it's probably also one of the most well-known shirts we're going to be looking at today. Depends how deep into the controversial shirt lore you are. The legend surrounding this shirt is pretty well known in English football, rising to infamy as Manchester United played Southampton at the Dell. The club were deep in the title race at this point, but by half-time Southampton were 3-0 up, already off to a bad start. But this is when Southampton were actually decent, so it's understandable. Ferguson took them into the dressing room and ordered them to change into their blue and white third shirt for the second half. They lost 3-1, so didn't really change anything. It was claimed after the fact that it was impossible to spot a grey shirt in a crowded environment. And if you actually look at the shirt, you can certainly see where they're coming from. Whether or not that was the actual case and they weren't just shit is a different question. I think they lost 3 times prior to this Southampton game in that shirt as well, so who knows what the real reason was. Ferguson didn't like it though from the start, and I don't think they wore the shirt again. Well, it was towards the end of the season anyway, but the shirt never really saw much use in that entire season really. But just looking at the shirt in general, I think it's pretty decent. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It's alright. I personally wouldn't wear it, but that's because it's a Man United shirt, not because it looks bad, because I don't think it does. And now we're going to move over from a shirt that didn't see much action to a shirt that was never ever worn. This is the Brazil third shirt from 2013. And my god, what a shame this shirt was never worn, because this is brilliant. It's a lovely blackout design that deviates greatly from traditional Brazilian shirts. It features the Brazil name on the chest with the 5 stars below, which signify their World Cup wins. The Nike and Brazil logo are featured on the sleeves, so they don't clutter the body of the shirt, and I actually think it looks quite good. This beautiful, beautiful shirt was rejected by the Brazilian FA due to their long-standing policy of only using the iconic yellow home shirt and an alternative blue away shirt for the outfield players, ignoring the fact that they've played in red for their early history. We won't remember that. However, they did wear a black goalkeeper shirt for the first half of a game in support of BLM. I think this is a lovely shirt. It's one of the rarest Brazil shirts out there and could have gone down as a legendary kit if it ever graced the pitch. I'm a huge, huge fan of it. It's really hard to find one, but if I find a real one for a reasonable price, then it's definitely going in my basket. But that seems very unlikely, so I could admire it from these pictures. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Absolutely phenomenal work. I just wish they could have wore it in an actual match, because it's so nice. And we're going to take a look at another shirt that never graced the pitch. This time we're looking at China's 2018-19 away shirt. And it's another blackout shirt as well. This is a beautiful looking shirt. There's no other words I can use to describe it. It's a black shirt that features a dragon print across the body of the shirt with a yellow secondary colour, which just works wonderfully. The sleeves are largely plain, save for a faint zigzag pattern, but you know, we don't care about that. We're here for the dragons. Look at them. Beautiful stuff. Now this shirt design was rejected by the Chinese FA just before its official launch. However, the ban came in too late to prevent international sales, so for a short time this kit was readily available online but sold out almost instantly. And you can still see some of these shirts floating around now. Again, very rare, very hard to find, but they are out there, they do exist. Now the official reason for the ban remains unknown. The Chinese FA never commented on why the shirt was rejected, but many believe it was due to the use of the dragon, which is a sacred symbol in Chinese culture. And honestly, if you think of China, you're likely going to think of a dragon, so makes sense. People suspect that with the dragon symbolising China and the black symbolising death in Chinese culture, that mixing the two was just too far for the Chinese FA, and it does kind of make sense. I've also seen reasoning that because it was a 5-clawed dragon and the 5 claws represent the old Chinese Empire and the Chinese Communist Party aren't a fan of the Empire, that maybe that's why they banned it as well. It's all speculation and we'll never know for sure. Saying that though, it's a very, very nice looking shirt. 10 out of 10. I would love to own one. Because look at it, man, that's a nice shirt. Now we're going to look at another shirt that never saw the light of day, but we're pivoting to one of the biggest clubs in the world, Barcelona, and their proposed 2020-21 away shirt. Back in 2019-2020, Nike began to work designing shirts for the upcoming La Liga season, and one of their proposals was a largely white away kit with the cross of St. George emblazoned across the body. It's the same cross that appears on the crest of Barcelona and on the flag of the city of Barcelona as well. But Barcelona said no. This design was rejected because the white, the main colour of the shirt, is the main colour of their Clásico rivals, Real Madrid, which is a no-no. But just think about it here. When have you ever seen a Real Madrid shirt that looks like this? Just doesn't exist, does it? It's clear to see this is not a Real shirt. But I know that rivalry is massive in Spain, and I've even seen, when there's been a little bit of white on a Barca shirt, it doesn't go down too well, so this was probably the right choice for the club. Also, that's not to mention the white shirts that Barcelona have had in the past, early on in their history, and also since then they've had a white shirt. This one to be specific. This is a nice shirt, and it wasn't banned. It's clearly white. This is more of a Real shirt than that one is. I don't know what's going on. Although, there is the argument that it was planned to be an all-white strip. White shirt, white shorts, white socks, which admittedly does look more like a Real Madrid strip than this one with the blue or the red shorts. So I can see where they're coming from, but again, the cross of St. George, that's part of Barcelona, man. So that shirt was banned and Nike got to work on this away shirt, which actually looks a lot better. So I think they were right to ban this shirt because I don't like how the mock-up looks, but the shirt we got, wonderful stuff. Going to give the old St. George's kit a 5 out of 10. I don't hate the St. George's cross, The new Genoa shirt with it is very nice. I'm English, it's our flag, but this shirt does not look good. So I'm happy, I'm fine with that one being banned. Get it gone. So we're going to stick in Spain for our next shirt and we're going to move northwest to Bilbao. This is quite possibly one of the worst football shirts I've ever seen. And I saw the Man City third kit from this season. This was a shirt that was planned to be used in the then UEFA Cup, which is now known as the Europa League. It was designed by Spanish artist Dario Urze, probably butchered the name, and was supposed to evoke a blood splatter, but it's known as a catch-up shirt for a reason. I'm sure you don't need me to explain that. I'm also not sure why the artist chose to go with some blood splatters as an inspiration for the design. It's a bit weird if you ask me, but here we are. It was a shirt so bad that it only saw use in one game, a 3-2 loss to Groningen. The fans weren't happy, and I think you can very easily see why. The level of public protest led to Bilbao scrapping the shirt after the aforementioned friendly, and it was never sought again. This is so bad. It's very early 2000s in the design, it just oozes that sort of aesthetic, but this just looks terrible. 1 out of 10. I do not rate this in the slightest. I come back trying to do something different with stripes, but not this. Good lord, not this. Alright, we're going to now take a slight detour from shirts, so to speak. We're going to move to slightly adjacent items of clothing here, as we've got this Cameroon vest from Puma back in 2002. Back when Puma were good, I'd say. They've not been good recently. This very interesting and unique design fell foul of FIFA's rules on football kits that required football shirts to have sleeves for some weird reason. There were no qualms from CAF as Cameroon donned this shirt, vest, whatever you want to call it, during the 2002 Africa Cup of Nations, which they ended up winning in some style. FIFA weren't having it though for the 2002 World Cup in South Korea and Japan, and Cameroon were forced to add these sleeves. Why? Just let them play in the vest, man. What's it going to change? What's it going to change, really? Why does it matter if a shirt has sleeves or not? Let's actually think about that, because I can't think of a reason that it would change much, if anything, in the game of football. Woke nonsense, if you ask me. These black sleeves really don't work, and you can just tell they were added last minute. Now, partially that is to blame for FIFA and their rules, but I think Puma could have added some sleeves that look a little bit better, you know, like maybe green, perhaps. Not sure why they had to go with black, but you can tell they were last minute additions, and it just really brings down the overall vibe of that kit. I mean, FIFA don't even follow their rules anymore. You just look what's going on with the World Cup bloody next host countries and shit like that, man. They don't follow their rules, so why should Cameroon? Hey, let them wear their vests. Let them wear the upcoming shirt you're about to see as well. Bring back the sleeveless look. I think it looks class. And I respect Cameroon and Puma for trying something different, because literally no other team thought of this. It's quite funny. I'm going to give them an 8 out of 10 because I do actually quite rate that. And if I could pull off a Cameroon shirt, I'd be looking at getting that vest because I think it looks lovely. And it was widely available as well, so they're probably going to be fairly affordable. Keep it up, Cameroon. Yep, we're going to stick with Puma and Cameroon with their antics from 2004. But hey, this one had sleeves, so I guess it's okay. Or not, as you're about to see. They went and released a onesie. A very tight-fitting onesie at that. The onesie has the silhouette of a classic football shirt, you know? It's got something that looks like a shirt and something that looks like shorts. What more do you need? That is a football kit. But again, FIFA, for some reason, had an issue with this, and the disgraced Sepp Blatter went as far to say this. It goes against the laws of the game. The rules are very clear. There is one shirt, one shorts, and one socks. I'd argue a pair of socks, but that's neither here nor there. They cannot do it. You cannot play a game against the laws of the game. We are the guardians of the laws of the game. The laws are universal. It's a bit of an overreaction for a team pulling up in a onesie, but, you know, apparently the rules are the rules. So unfortunately, this beautiful onesie, this piece of kit, never graced the World Cup stage. But CAF, once again, had no issues, and it did see use in the 2004 Africa Cup of Nations, but unfortunately, Cameroon didn't win that one. They could have gone back-to-back in wacky shirts. It would have been incredible, but unfortunately, it was not to be. I like the little side panels that look like claw marks, little ventilation holes. I think that's a very nice, very good touch from Puma there. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. But also, just looking at this, how on earth did they actually put this on? Like, there's no zip or anything that I can see. They certainly couldn't put their head through like a leg hole or something like that. How did they wear this? How did they put it on? Not as unique at the vest. Well, maybe it is. But I think the vests look a little bit cooler. That's all. All right. We're moving on to what might be the most famous of the banned and controversial football shirts. This is the Fiorentina 92-93 away. And I'm just going to give you a second to just drink it in. Yes, that is a swastika. And this somehow passed all checks, not only with Lotto, but with Fiorentina, and made it to full production and was actually worn on the pitch before this issue was discovered, shall we say. I do imagine that this was purely accidental from the design that Lotto were going with here, but it's not helped by Italy's allegiances in World War II and their founders' political views. You could very easily see how this was on purpose, but apparently it's not, so I'm not going to push that conspiracy. As soon as the unfortunate design was noticed, the shirt was swiftly replaced with a plain white one, and most of the shirts destroyed. They were like, this was an accident, we really did not mean it, we're burning the fucking shirts, we promise we're innocent. Fair enough, but you can still buy this shirt, it's still available. Not sure why you'd buy it though, given it's got a fat swastika on it, but you know, you do you. And yeah, as I mentioned, they were swiftly replaced by a plain white shirt that, you know, it's okay. Doesn't really have the source of that previous shirt, but it does have swastikas on it. So can you really say it's a sourced up design? Probably not. Lotto have since decided to revive this controversial design for their goalkeeper shirts this season, but they've taken steps to remove the offending swastika. But if you look at the shirts, you can easily make out where that design would have been, so they've not really fixed anything. But if you don't know it's there, you may be able to ignore it, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. This shirt's going to have to be a 0 out of 10. Can't back a swastika on a shirt, even if, ignoring the swastika, it's a really nice design. But the swastika's there, you can't ignore it, so 0 out of 10. Sorry lads, I hope it was accidental. And finally, a shirt that is worse than a kit with a swastika on it. Is that even possible? Well, let me show you the Huddersfield Town 2019-20 pre-season home shirt. Just look at it. I think you would agree, this is just awful. Luckily, this shirt was only worn once in a friendly against Rochdale. You know, such a prestigious occasion for a one-off shirt, don't you think? The shirt was then banned and replaced with a sponsorless design that looks a little bit better for the rest of the season. They could have kept the logo centralised though. That looked quite nice. It later turned out to be a pure publicity stunt between them and Paddy Power, and that featuring no logo on their shirts had always been the plan for the upcoming season. This little prank saw them fined £50,000 for breaching FA sponsor regulations, which, if I remember correctly, Paddy Power paid up front. Part of a Paddy Power campaign to save football shirts from these terrible sponsors, which is very admirable, but clearly didn't do anything, really, because there are a lot more terrible sponsors now than there were back then. Like, we've got crypto sponsors for crying out loud. It didn't work, unfortunately. And just for the sheer outrageousness and just the terrible, terrible shirt design, 0 out of 10. It's on par with a swastika shirt. So yeah, that was a brief look at some of the most controversial and banned football shirts in the world. What did you think? Do you think some of these shirts should have been given the runaround? Do you agree with the reason why they were banned? Let me know down below. And what was your favourite of these banned shirts? Be careful with what you say. And yeah, I mean, it's very exciting. It's very interesting to see why these football shirts have been banned in the past. Nowadays, football shirts are a lot less offensive. They're becoming more and more focused on as a thing that requires effort. You're seeing a lot more teams from the lower leagues get a lot nicer shirts. And you'll see manufacturers put in the effort, which is really nice to see. I just wish the Paddy Power campaign was a bit more effective, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.